What's up, everybody? My name is Nick. I am joined by my co-host Matt, and welcome to For Better or Worse, episode 4, week 2. We are back. Matt, how was week 1? What'd you think?
It's pretty solid. Thanks for everyone who's been listening, who's been interacting with us on Twitter, YouTube, all that. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe down below. Stay tuned for great content giveaways and for us to blabber on and on and on. Again, always appreciate the support. I think week 1 went well. These NBA playoffs are really exciting. MLB, beginning of the seasons, I'm, as always, as a Met fan in April, we're World Series bound. And we're going to – hopefully the wheels don't fall off like they usually do in years past. So we're going to stick through that. But I went to a Yankees game this weekend. So that was – we'll talk about that later, but that was very – Interesting. My first time in Yankee Stadium, so it's whatever.
Matt does bring up a good point. Our view count on YouTube is actually messed up. So if you could just push like to make sure we know you're watching, that's a good way for us to track. Just saying. It's a little bit weird, but I don't know. YouTube's messing with our algorithm. I don't know. Just push that like button. We'll know what you're watching. That being said, we'll get right into it. We got a couple things going on on today's agenda. NBA slate. We got some picks for the NBA as well. We got the MLB slate. We're back at it again with Dick of the Week, and then we'll wrap it up with a 2-leg. So we'll go right into it. A lot of basketball over the weekend.
Yeah, give us that recap for you real quick.
We'll go right into it. T-Wolves versus Memphis. Cat answered back. They tied up the series.
Yeah, he had series 2-2.
It looked like Ja has completely changed the way he's playing. He stopped. They're playing great defense on him overall, he's being somewhat aggressive trying to get to the bucket. It's just He's just turning into like a what's the Westbrook stat stuffer triple double kind of situation, which is great for me because I'll just bet the RA and call it a day, but he barely got.
You're right. With Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, these guys in a team who can score, he's going to do what he needs to do to win a basketball game. If he thinks that that's stuff in the stat sheet, then so be it. You know what I mean? And then another even series, the Jazz, even with Luka returning, evened up the series at 2-2. They played tonight for Game 5. That's a surprising series to me. I thought when Luka came back it was going to be over, but looks like we got ourselves a series.
Yeah, most definitely. The real surprising thing is I wasn't watching the game, but just based off everybody on Twitter, I thought the Mavs won. I thought they won. You saw Luka hit that play, and then I realized, I looked back and, oh, wait, Utah won. Okay. It's completely blindsided by that. I had no idea, honestly. But I didn't watch the game. I still think the Jazz have obviously left the door wide open. You got to capitalize on the fact that Luka wasn't there, and they didn't. But they do squeak out that one win recently. So, it keeps them semi-competitive. At least they have a win. Because the next team, the Nets, only team in the playoffs without a win right now, going up against the Celtics. Is it going to be a sweep? We will find out tonight. Ben Simmons, it's sad. I feel like there's no competitive spirit whatsoever.
It's tough because I also feel his like – I want to word this right. Like, if he comes back and he's hurt and he's horrible, he's going to get killed more than he is now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if he left with no bad blood, just got traded, and he played bad, it's like, oh, whatever. But the fact that there's so much pressure on that first game back, I think he is trying to wait till he's 100%. But at the end of the day, it is the playoffs. Your back's against the wall. You kind of got to just suck it up there, in my opinion. But I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, that outfit, though, my gosh. You saw it. Everybody saw it. I mean, literal clown suit. But
Yeah.
no, nonetheless, I mean, I feel like, I mean, come on. Honestly, I don't think he can get killed more than he's already being killed right now because it's just bad. I mean, there's no competitive spirit in my mind. There's no explanation. I mean, at least say why he's not playing because it's the timelines just keeps fluctuating around. I feel like he's just making stuff up. And then if you actually go back, someone dug up some old tweets. He was like talking about how he hates getting swept in the playoffs and he'll never let that happen again. And I'll try to find that tweet today and retweet it. But I know one of the basketball accounts put it out. And then the funny part is underneath is come to the Nets. That'll never happen here. Somebody commented underneath that. That was like a couple of years ago too. Nonetheless, got some more basketball to go over. Bucks dominate with no Middleton, no problem whatsoever. Up 3-1. I mean, they look really, really good. I always kind of I was about to say that. I almost kind of like the Bucks without Middleton in a sense. I mean, Middleton's still a great player. But yeah, that big man lineup where they put Giannis.
Portis starts, and then you can space out Grayson Allen. It kind of creates more space for Giannis to kind of work through. I mean, Chris Middleton spaced it out too, but they're just so deep. I mean, they can kind of, next man up where like only a few teams can. Like the Suns can do that. The Bucks can do that. The Celtics can do that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think anyone else can. I think the Raptors are trying to right now, but it's not really working out.
They got some player development, I think, to do on their end. That being said, I feel with that big man lineup with Lopez, Bobby Portis, and then Giannis, I mean, it's massive as far as having teams trying to match that. It's funny how you can see the extremes of the big man ball and then small man ball that the Warriors are doing and stuff. But yeah,
to me, it's like it's so important that Portis, Lopez, and Giannis kind of, but because Portis and Lopez can also shoot threes, it makes you have to be so honest defensively. Where it's like when you're playing the Pelicans and Valanciunas is there, he's shooting maybe 1-3 a game, maybe if he's wide open like he did last night. And it's like, you could be honest, you can kind of guard him free throw line below because he's not going to pull up from there. But when you have Portis and Lopez, you have to be kind of an arm's length away, which just lets Giannis do whatever the hell he wants in there.
Yeah, spread the floor. That's for sure. I'd see that series. I mean, the Bucks should finish it out pretty soon. The -4.5, I believe. What was it, -4? What was the line?
They were 4.5 last game, yeah.
Yeah, that was a steal for anybody who got that. Getting into it, we got a couple teams that, again, avoiding the sweep. Nuggets and the Raptors. If you want, I don't know if you want to talk about one team or the other first, but go ahead.
Why don't we just say this? Is there any of these teams you think can end up winning the series?
Look, all I'm going to say is Doc Rivers. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But other than that,
there's no chance the Nuggets do this, right?
I mean, there's always a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, there's always a chance. I mean, there is a chance that they can win games, but they're not going to.
Which team, if there was a team to avoid the sweep and win the series, which of these two teams is it?
Raptors.
Is it the Raptors?
Yeah. I mean, the injuries don't help. I mean, now you had Fred VanVleet go down last game. He's a game time decision right now, and we'll get into that more soon. But I mean, the Warriors didn't shoot well, and the Nuggets shot really well, especially from three. You had Highland and you had Monte Morris. They were just jacking up threes and hitting them well. So I'm just both teams should lose and go home. That being said, if I had to pick one, it'd be the Raptors to advance, but that's probably not going to happen. I just like to make, Doc Rivers jokes. Now, when we're here at game 6 and 7, we'll talk again. But until that happens, I'll just stay with what I have.
And it looks like the Heat are going to run away with that series. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. I think that's pretty much over.
Yeah.
I think Trae Young's – I think he's a little hurt too. I think they're just going to pack it up, wait for next season, try again, sort of deal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It just – the Heat are a very good team and pretty deep overall. And they play defense. That's a real thing. Hawks don't play defense. So I never saw that being that competitive as a series overall. And it's kind of proven so. And then you have the Suns and Pels. That's last up.
2-2 series.
2-2 series.
No Devin Booker. Do you think they can close it out? I think the Pelicans can win the series. I really do.
Well, it's going to come up to who's reffing the game. Because
it always does.
Who's those two wins averse as far as the refs? Was it? I forgot his name. Scott Foster.
I don't know. I didn't know who was.
It's both times.
I also heard Scott Foster's reffing the Nets Celtics game tonight. So, but I'm telling you, without Devin Booker, you heard it here first. Maybe other people are saying it. I think Chris Paul is somehow hurt again. His jumper looks absolutely terrible. It reminds me of the playoff series last year against the Lakers, where he just didn't shoot. Took like 6 shots. When he shot, it looked like he was almost forcing it or struggling with it. And, he doesn't have Devin Booker to score. Chris Paul is not going to give you 30 every game. It's not who he is. It's not who he ever was. He's going to set up people for success around him, and he'll get his when he wants to. But you can't ask him to get 30 points. You're going to need Bridges to step up, Jay Crowder to step up. Ayton to keep playing.
Cam Johnson.
Lights out, Cam Johnson. But you do need Chris Paul to get his, because if the defense stops playing honest on Chris Paul and he can't score, I don't know. I think the Pelicans, I think Brandon Ingram's amazing. I think CJ McCollum's a great talent too. Valanciunas, he doesn't play defense, but he can score when he wants. And they're a gritty team. I think this series can go 6-7 and it'd be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to get into this Zion talk, but it'd be interesting to see how Zion fits in all of this way later on. And what kind of team they can make out of it. It's funny how people were originally talking about this trade with Portland being favorable to Portland and all of that, and it's just it's worked out so well for the Pelicans. Well. I love the team and love how they spread out everything. So
it's weird though, because Zion's doing through the legs windmill dunks in warmups, and he's not playing. I'm just saying, where is his energy though? Because for Ben Simmons, you're crucifying this man. Zion, you're telling me Zion can't play? If you could jump up and do through the legs windmill dunk in warmups, you could probably play basketball. I just think he's out of New Orleans. He doesn't want to play there. He wants to go to New York. He wants to do something else. He's just not playing. He's pulling like a Kawhi. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not going to say anything. I honestly don't know that whole situation. Neither do I really care. When he gets back on the floor, then I'll pay attention. But it's been a long time. So, it is what it is as far as that's concerned. But, getting past all that, great weekend of basketball. I thought it was, really entertaining. Bunch of games, exactly what you want to see out of the NBA. But let's get into the games for tonight. I got Celtics at Nets. Like we said, Celtics up 3-0. Current line is Celtics +1 right now as we speak at 9:52 a.m. in the morning. Player props I have to talk about, it's obviously Bruce Brown. He looked fantastic last game, crushing all of his numbers, no matter how you took it, points, RA, PRA. I mean, and that's all stuff I'm going to be looking at for today's slate. His points currently set at 14.5. I feel like at this point I've made enough money off him, and he's very hot and very aggressive, and he's playing tons of minutes to where I can't not go back to him again, especially at 14.5. He's been, getting in the 20s overall. with the last couple of games. 26 last game on 40 minutes, and then 38 minutes before that, 23 points. And then he did have that first game was a little bit rough for him overall. Didn't even try to shoot. Did shoot well, 2 for 3 and 1 from 1 for 3 on 37 minutes. But he's really turned it around the last 2 games overall. Like I said, so 26 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and then 23 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. So looking at again at options for him, 14.5 is his line at -106 currently on FanDuel. I'll hit that up. And then his RA is currently 9.5. So that's a really nice line. But that being said, it's -130. I see that trending towards the 10.5, which I'd probably stay away from, and just pivot to the PRA of 24.5 at -115. So I'm going to be taking the points and the PRA for Bruce Brown. The real question is, does KD turn it on? What are your thoughts as far as that's concerned? His line currently is 28.5, but does he turn it on and get things going, in the face of all that criticism?
I think so. I mean, Kyrie has no experience playing in Brooklyn, literally at the stadium. I mean, how many games did he actually play at home? Don't trust him there in the atmosphere. KD's been playing there all year, coming off 11 shots last game. The last time he took less than 11 shots or 11 shots or less was March 15th. He only played 30 minutes because they won 150-108. Another time he had 12 minutes. He got hurt. That was back in January. So other than that, he's taken way more shots. I mean, in the 20s. One game in November, he took less than 11 shots. But I mean, Kevin Durant, he's not known as this facilitator, as a stat sheet stuffer. He's going to get his points. He's going to score. He's 7-foot guard, basically. And in my opinion, I don't like touching games when it's 3-0 and, you don't know what's going to happen, who's going to step up. But you got to think he goes out. I mean, he had 23, 27, and 16. When KD's a big Twitter guy, big media guy, when the people start to talk about this, they're going to look at what always comes up at their series. Oh, they got swept. KD averaged blank, 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 and blank. Kyrie averaged blank, 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 and blank. KD does not want to be blamed for this. I mean, he should be, as should the whole team. But I think in here, he doesn't want to be blamed for this. I think he'd rather Kyrie be blamed for it or the team or whatever. I think he's going to go out firing. I think he's just say, I scored 35 and I lost. It is what it is. But if he scores 14 and they lose, that's a whole different narrative. So I'm going to go personally on that. I don't know if I'm going to go heavy or post it as a play, but if I'm going to watch it, I think KD scores at least 30 tonight, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way he's not aggressive and shoots a shot at the very least and gets the volume. I mean, he's got to. There's no way. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as they win, that's all that matters. But what the hell are you drinking?
Coffee.
Oh
Ice cold coffee in the morning.
That looks like dirt water.
I actually picked up some soil from the rain outside, and
that's what it looks like. Yeah, so I think he really. One thing I got to make a point. Cats are going crazy back here, but what is with this? People are. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so frustrated by this. People are giving him slander and saying that LeBron beat the same team in 2018. Sure.
He did.
Yeah. But there's no such thing as player progression. Like, it's the exact same team. They're exactly in the same part of their career. Tatum hasn't got better. Marcus Smart hasn't got better. Jaylen Brown hasn't got better. Al Horford hasn't got worse. Like, there's no player progression whatsoever. You can't make these. It's 4 years later, people. 4 years later. Stop making the same comparison. You can say KD sucks. That's fine. But don't make the comparison that, LeBron beat the same team in 2018. It is not the same team. Like, there is player progression every year.
Right.
You're talking about 4 years later.
is not the same team because last team had Gordon Hayward. I'm just kidding. But
it's serious. It's just
as the diehard LeBron fan, but a very realistic one, it makes absolutely zero sense to compare the 2018 team Celtics 4 years later. I mean, that's like saying playing LeBron, like that Spurs team sweeping LeBron in 2007. LeBron never got better than when he was 23 years old. Like it's just
there you go.
It's just stupid. I mean, I get what they're like trying to say. We're like, actually, I don't, because I mean, it has no relevance. You could say one person did more with less, but like, there's no similarities to the team besides it's the same players. But like, if LeBron played Michael Jordan 1-on-1 right now, and LeBron beat him, you're gonna be, is he better? Some people may think so or not, but just because he beat a 60-year-old Michael Jordan doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. That was just my pet peeve. I had to bring it up. I've seen a lot of it on Twitter. So yeah. That being said, let's get into the next game. Raptors at Sixers. The current line is Raptors +7. Obviously 76ers up 3-1. Going back home. Do they close it out? That's something we'll talk about. But a couple of player props that I had targeted, and I'm really staying on the Raptors side overall, is with Fred VanVleet currently at a game time decision as of this morning, had that hip injury, did not look good, very frustrated when he was getting off the court last game. You have to target some players, that are going to step up overall. And that goes back to Gary Trent Jr. You could look at his threes. Number one, I haven't seen a line this morning, but that should come up soon. But his points currently is 19.5. The last two games, he's gotten 24. And shooting three-wise, he's 3 from 10 and 4 from 9 from 3 the last two games as well. He's also playing 39 and 45 minutes. Obviously, went into overtime that one game. But, I mean, plenty of minutes, plenty of shots are going to go up. The volume you want. Obviously, if VanVleet's out, he shoots a bunch of threes and gets shots up. So those shots are going to go to someone else. And I look for Gary Trent Jr. to continue. That along with Siakam. So Siakam had a big game last game, and that's something I'm going to continue to look at. His line it's super enticing. It's over 23.5 right now would be the play. This is something I'm going to tweet out later. It's just, it's a little inconsistent. So he had 34 last game, shooting well, 10 from 19, and then 12 points before, and then 20 points before, and then 24 points before. So a little all over the place as far as the points, 2 out of the 4. That being said, the Fred VanVleet news, that's really going to make my decision overall as to he's going to – I mean, that's something as well. If Fred's out, look at the assists because you can look through the games of when Fred's out and how they kind of work through Siakam a lot. Not that they already do. I mean, the guy gets 5, 6, 7 assists a game typically. But, those are the two I'd be looking at overall. Do you have anything for this game?
Absolutely not. Thoughts? Absolutely not. Raptors, it's one person to the other. Sixers, Embiid, I think I trust just based off of him clapping at like the refs and stuff. And he takes this stuff real personally. He did have that heartbreak series with Kawhi against the Raptors where Kawhi had the game winner bounced 417 times off the rim and they all had to watch.
Classic,
it's not the same team, cry. But I think this is more personal for him in that sense where he can kind of overcome, get revenge in a way, and then keep going. So I do trust Embiid to kind of get it done and do whatever he has to do. But as far as everything else, I think you have good points if VanVleet's out. Those are two guys to try and target in that aspect. But for me, it's more of a watch. Hopefully the Sixers advance and can look at some other things.
Yeah. Embiid under is super enticing in a way because of that thumb injury. And that's
True.
something I wanted to target last game. And then I completely forgot, honestly. So it is what it is. But his line's currently at 27.5. It's dropping down. So it was 28.5 last night. It's 27.5 right now. Will I take it? It's super scary, especially when he clapped like that. Like, I feel like he's just going to try to force it. That being said, his thumb is tore some ligaments in it. I mean, that's not helpful.
As a sidebar, I was watching those Tim Donaghy interviews, the referee who used to like not fix the games, but had like the inside information on like who or whatever. And he brought up something. What?
He fixed games, but we'll get past that.
He also knew it was like, the NBA would have a meeting with the refs and they're going to say, oh, we're going to call carries on Allen Iverson, or Kobe Bryant's going to get to the free throw line because Phil Jackson sent in tape of us missing 25 calls. So we're going to send Kobe to the free throw line. And you're going to bet the Lakers if you know Kobe was going to go to the line 20 times. And he said that there was a guy who was like the NBA's guy that would extend series, right? I've been trying to find that ref now. There's no way they still don't do that. I mean, I want to look at Scott Foster and see, I feel like they're kind of trying to persuade you with the whole, Chris Paul. No. Maybe he's just extending series. And maybe there's a deeper meaning here. So some guru on the internet wants to watch this and go find out what NBA ref that is. Please hit my DMs and comment because I want
conspiracies. We gotta have a conspiracy segment.
Because if the Raptors get extend the series and they go to the free throw line, I'm looking at this refs. I'm looking at the ref staff, seeing what happened, taking notes. I'm on to you. All right.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some questionable calls this series, but going both ways. I mean, people not getting called and getting called.
I'm just saying.
I get DMs from people like, what's with the beat going to the line 20 times, and I get DMs from 76ers fans like, oh, he got hacked. There's no foul. Like you hear it both ways. So at the end of the day, they're human. As long as it evens out, that's great. But yeah, it is what it is on that end. But let's get past this game. Jazz at Mavs. It's tied 2-2. Jazz +3. As far as what I'm seeing, there's barely any lines out right now. We're going to be targeting Clarkson again. Just depends on the line itself when it comes out, and I will tweet that later today. But do you have any plays for this? Are you going to watch the game?
Yeah, it's just going to be a watch for me. I think this is a good series now. The Jazz answered back. They proved me wrong. All right, Utah, you proved me wrong as of now. I really thought you were going to get stepped on when Luka came back. You proved me wrong. Now the Jazz, they taste blood. They know the Mavs can be beaten when they're fully healthy, and I think it's go time. I think this is a good game to watch. I think there's some good player prop targets possibly, but as for me, I'm just going to be a fan and watch.
Yep, no, most definitely, and I'll have plays later today on Twitter. But Clarkson would be a player I would look at overall. You could look at Jalen Brunson. I mean, even with Luka back, he seemed to be scoring the ball, and if they put that around 20. Then that's something I would target. Other than that, we'll just wait and see what the books come out with. But getting into something Matt does love, the MLB slate. And unfortunately, we're going to talk about the Mets. So the Mets.
There's like 6 games on today. Every time we do a podcast, there's like 6 games.
Well, you also got to do like the late games too. So
yeah. Well, I have 3 games I want to talk about briefly. Mets, Cardinals. You have Scherzer versus Mikolas. Scherzer. It was 2-0 versus the Cardinals last year with 0 earned runs allowed both times. But Mikolas has been outstanding this year for the Cardinals so far in the early on. He had some injury issues to deal with and things like that. See how he progresses. This is 2 of the top teams in the NL. So, I'm excited for the showdown. I think the Mets have the edge here. I did put this play out last night because I saw the odds difference. There was -135 on DraftKings and MGM had -160. FanDuel was like -150. Now the line everywhere is -50 and up. So I took the Mets based off the value of the line. Knew it was going to move. but this should be a good game, good test. I think Scherzer's in the zone. Again, the favorite for the Cy Young. So the best way to do that is to win games when the DeGrom's still hurt. I mean, it's the only way you're going to get it done. Any of your thoughts on this game? I know you hate me talking about my Mets, but anything you like in this game at all or no?
No, not really. I'm still in NBA mode. Once we narrow down these series and kind of get less games overall, this is when I start to transition. Then there's enough stats on MLB to where I can look at this year's stats. It kind of works out great as far as on my end. So we're in the semifinals / West Coast, East Coast finals. Yeah. That's kind of when I transition into MLB as well, because there'll be less games and I'll be able to, look at all the season stats overall, and we'll really dive in.
No, you have a point. And I think now we're getting into the point of the MLB season where before, for player props wise and like just overall handicapping, it was last year's stats. Now, as we are almost 20 games in, you now have a decent pool of stats for this year to where you can start going off that. So, I mean, in the next month, we're going to have more for you. So it'll definitely get, I don't want to say easier, but you'll have more information to make your picks based off of, which is how we do our thing. So another game I love, I want to put this out there too for the people who follow me on Twitter. I do play most of the same players because as a total basis, you want a power hitter because, again, if he goes 1 for 4 with the double, he's going to cash. And statistically, it's easier to go 1 for 4 than it is to go 2 for 4 just because people don't bat 500 on the year. It just doesn't happen. So if I'm going to have a guy go 1 for 4, I'm going to pick the guy that has the double. There just only happens to be 2 to 3 guys per team that I like. So the Red Sox Blue Jays, perfect example of that, where it's lefty versus Berrios day. Jose Berrios gets absolutely blown up by lefties. Like, I think he poops his pants every time he sees a lefty come up to the plate. And that's going to be Devers, who's been on a mission. I also think Devers and Vlad, MVP race versus each other, they're going to want to beat each other. And, people were saying, as a good point, Devers career-wise isn't the best versus Berrios, but Berrios used to be a top pitcher in the league. I think he still can be, but he hasn't shown that sign in 2 years. So if you look at Devers' bases, it's minus 105 over 1.5. I mean, he's gotten a double in each of the last 3 games that he faced him. So that's proof alone right there that he's getting that double, he's getting that hit. And Berrios, as long as Berrios continues to struggle against a lefty, I'm going to play it. So, it's like kind of like NBA player prop. You have a guy who keeps hitting it as a good matchup. You're not going to be like, oh, he's cashed me 4 times in a row and he's a great matchup. Let me hop off. It's when he has that bad matchup, I'm going to hop off. So, that's kind of what we need to watch out for. That's what I like in that game. You could target any lefty like Verdugo. And on the Blue Jays, I like Eovaldi. I'm not going to touch anyone there. I think it'd be a good game, though. These teams just played 2 weeks ago, and we cashed on this exact play. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm 100% with you. Don't have to justify your picks. As long as they win, that's all that matters. You go back to back to back to back. There's no reason not to, especially in a favorable matchup like that. So, I think he's hot overall, and he's got power. So I don't disagree with you whatsoever.
Exactly. And then the Dodgers game is the last game I want to talk about. It's the late game. Walker Buehler, absolute stud. And then you have Merrill Kelly, who's pitched well this season. But versus the Dodgers career-wise, not so much. He's 0-4, whereas Walker Buehler is 4-0. And I also put this play out on Twitter. I think this may be my I'm still deciding on my plays for that 2-legger, but I mean, you have Muncy's 8 for 18, batting .444 versus Kelly career-wise. Freeman's 3 for 6. Also has the lefty-righty matchup. Betts is 4 for 12 with 2 homers. Trey Turner's 2 for 6. Justin Turner 7 for 15. Will Smith 6 for 11. All those numbers are versus Merrill Kelly. So the Dodgers have a familiar pitcher who has not won a game versus them career-wise. This is that game you get excited for as a Dodgers player, knowing it's time to hit some baseballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll put my leg in what that play actually is when we talk about it. There's a lot of angles you can attack in that game.
Yeah, he's getting hammered, sounds like, by them. I mean, yeah, that's some good numbers overall. Let's get right into Dick of the Week because I've been excited about this. That's why we're just powering through this episode just to get to the segment.
Rudy Gobert, I want to say this. Rudy Gobert, you're officially off the hot seat. You're
off the hot seat.
Now not the Dick of the Week. And I'll let Nick talk about who has taken your rightful seat on the Dick of the Week throne.
And it's not one person. It's multiple people. It's all the Yankees fans at Yankee Stadium who literally threw trash onto the field at a player. So a big situation over the weekend, playing the Guardians. There was I guess a ball that went out
it was a walk-off
left
double.
field.
It was a walk-off double, went to the wall. The outfield will pick it up.
Yep. He hits the wall, gets hurt. Yankees fans start chirping the player that got hurt. Now, obviously, competitive chirping, that's all, talk your shit. But when a player gets hurt, we're all human at the end of the day. Have a little respect. That being said, I am talking to, drunk Yankee fans. So whatever.
I was at that game. That was the game I went to over the weekend. They were sitting below me. I was in the second deck. And so I'm going to say this. I left.
Matt is currently just the Dick of the Week. Matt is the Dick of the Week. That's what it is.
No. I'm not a Yankees fan. I went for a friend's birthday. We actually left at the end of the 8th inning.
Why? Wasn't the game competitive?
Yeah, it was 4-3, but we wanted to beat the traffic because there's a bunch of people there. And we never went before. Taking like an hour ride back into the subway back. We were all trying to get back home. It was a long day. So we were like, screw this. No one actually cares if they win or not. All my friends that were there were Phillies fans and Mets fans. I don't know why we went to a Yankees game. He just said logistically it made the most sense and he was wrong and we just kind of went with it. But we were at that game. First of all, Yankee Stadium, do better. First of all, do better. Your stadium might get Dick of the Week forever until you change that because your amenities suck. I'm not even saying that as a biased Mets fan. I've been to Giants Stadium in San Francisco, great ballpark. I've been to Citizens Bank Park in Philly, good ballpark. Yankees fans, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Is it because it's the Yankees you have a little bit higher standard when you go there and then you're disappointed? Or is it is it just bad overall?
It's just like they don't the food's expensive, obviously, but there's no options, right? There's like barely any options. There's like 2 places maybe for some options. Other than that, it's a little booth of like cheese fries, your premium sausages that's at every single arena ever. And that's it. There's little team stores that are like little booths. Just come on. First of all, it's just ridiculous. All right. I hate it. I'm never going back. And especially after those fans did what they did, because that's just ridiculous. And I've seen some Yankees fans say, oh, well, he shouldn't have climbed the wall. He wouldn't have climbed the wall if you're not throwing trash at him. He's a human being, first of all, who's making 10 times, 50 times more money than you're making. He just got his heart broken because they lost on a walk-off. And you're just going to throw trash at him because you finally won a game? Get out of here. Dick of the Week until further notice. I'm still pissed off because now I'm getting associated with those people because I was guilty by association.
Yep, you were there. So you're part of it. You're part of it. No, but seriously, I mean, you can't throw it took away from the win. It was disgraceful. It was honestly disgraceful. You saw the John Boy breakdown where you have these guys they just look like absolute idiots. I mean, just like idiots. But it is what it is. It's sports fans drinking and yeah.
Wouldn't you be cheering? Like, it's not like they hit a walk-off on you. You just won the game. Shouldn't you be turning around and high-fiving people?
Yeah.
Not belittling someone who's literally just going to pick up the baseball?
Yeah.
That's you know what?
Yeah.
Those
it is what
parents
it is.
might be Dick of the Week.
Yeah. Getting past that. Two-legger for today. What do we got? Obviously, I think the score is tied. I can't remember. Pushing past that. No,
how the turntables have
turned.
I better see the same energy followers and Nick's army that attacked me.
Is that what happened?
When I do it, it's crucify him. Cut his leg off. Nick loses. It's okay. We'll get it next time.
Yeah. It's called positive thinking, okay? Positive.
No,
it's not my fault.
We'll get this one. We'll get this one.
Man, I know you already mentioned your leg. So why don't you go right into that, and I'm still deciding between two players. So let me think about that while you do yours.
Yeah, so I did post this play before. I thought the line was going to move. It didn't. I still love this play. As of 10 o'clock in the morning. Dodgers first 5, -0.5, -120. So for those who don't understand baseball terms yet, really, this is at the end of the 5th inning. They have to be winning. If it's tied, it's a loss because they're favored in the game. It's a way for you to, get them. It's a way for you to attack the starting pitching matchup. Where, like we talked about Merrill Kelly's 0-4 career versus the Dodgers, and gets absolutely torched by this lineup. And I'm going to exploit it. Walker Buehler I can have to hold it down as well. So I love this spot. So going to our 2-legger of the day to redeem ourselves, my first leg is Dodgers first 5, -0.5. Odds are -120 on DraftKings. I believe -130 on FanDuel.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you. I think it's a good play overall. I'm going back to Bruce Brown. He looks very good overall. He's scoring. He's being aggressive on defense. He was trying to smother Jason Tatum multiple times. And he got some good defense at times. He's playing the whole game in 40 minutes. It's a tough matchup. Even though Tatum got some of his, which he's going to. He's a great player. But with this, I'm going with the points over 14.5. If you want to look at PRA as well at 24.5, honestly, you can. But his points as the last 2 games have been very consistent. Excuse me. Yeah. It's just a play I have to go back to with this slate. 26 points last game, like I said, shooting 10 for 19 and 2 for 7 from 3. And then the game before, 23 points, 8 for 12 and 3 for 4 from 3. As far as PRA, obviously, it's 24.5. So he cleared it one time, that alone, but he's getting 11 and 12 for the PRA the last 2 games as well. I'm really not accounting for that game 1. He's completely changed and turned around everything whatsoever. But yeah, that's our 2-leg of the day.
You go Bruce Brown 14.5.
Bruce Brown over 14.5 points, and then Matt's Dodgers first 5 -0.5 at -120. So yeah,
for our guys who want us to tell you exactly what it is on FanDuel that I've been hearing, it's the Dodgers first half -0.5 or first half result on FanDuel. Yep. And then you have Knicks Bruce Brown over 14.5 points. We're going to redeem ourselves. The parlay is +243. It's hitting tonight. I can feel it in my bones.
Feel it in my bones. I feel it in my bones.
Well, that's it. There you have it. Episode 4.
4. Knocked it out. 4.
In the books. Again, please subscribe. Follow us if you have not. We love the interaction. We love your support. Keep it up. We're excited to keep posting stuff. And let us know what your favorite segments are, what you guys want to see from us. We'll be happy to provide it to you. I'm going to go golf today. See you on the links.
Yeah, for real. Look at that shirt. My God. And let's talk about that for a second. Holy crap.
You like it?
That is it's a shirt, but we'll be back on Wednesday and Thursday of this week with another episode. But yeah, you look like a guy who definitely shoots 110 without a doubt.
I was literally about to say over under 110.5 when I hit the links.
Boom. I know the line. And we're going to smash that over. So, all right, guys. It's been a pleasure. You guys have a good one. Deuces.
Peace. See you next time.